The investor. So when we looked at the rate sheets for the investor loans, are you talking about like what are the interest rates at right now?
Well, what do you, because like for us, the DSCR is, I think the minimum is 1.0. So like if you have $1,000 coming in from rent and your expenses, including the mortgage, is $1,000, then you
Oh,
hit the
that
minimum.
ratio. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's basically like the what's the cash flow, right? Because some lenders they'll work off of a negative DSCR as long as
Wow.
there's equity, I believe, and the borrower has decent credit. But I have a feeling
I think it's
it's
worse.
DSCR one as well,
It
maybe.
might, yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I really haven't really sunken my teeth into that program with Pac Bay. I know they
Yep.
can do it, but and it's interesting now they're starting to push, a lot of like non-qualified mortgages, like these type of loans and just other type of mortgages rather than conventional FHA, VA. But I'll look at the rate sheet right now and see if that could see if it'll let me know. And it's either got to be the same or a little bit worse, right? Because that's just not their forte.
Yeah, yeah. But maybe I'll give you a call because it might be, maybe it'll fall under like a non-QM loan. This one, it's in Maui, so
Nice.
yeah. But I'll catch up with you after. I wanted to introduce you to Justin Acuna on the call later. Uh, he's now working with Duncan at Infinite Financial. So um, I was telling him our plan, right? We need to kind of cultivate the branch, build it up, and then hopefully we get an opportunity to work with guys like Justin, right? Um, so, all right, ready to rock and roll. Aloha, everybody. Thanks for jumping on this week. Hopefully everyone had a great week so far. Coming off Mother's Day weekend, and there's so much to talk about, like what's going on out there in the world. I was planning on kind of opening it up to everybody and talking about kind of more focusing on the acquisition side of the deals, right? And because that's kind of the genesis of wealth creation. It's where everything kind of starts. So down to wholesalers and guys who are bird dogging, right? Like we need people out there hunting and negotiating for good solid deals, and we are probably going to start looking more at focusing on the acquisition side as well, and trying to cultivate deal flow more off market. So it got me thinking as we're planning out strategy and what we're gonna do to start. And for us, there's so much to choose from, like when you're sourcing deals, right? When it comes to filling the pipeline. And I wanted to open it up to the room to talk about different strategies that you're using, because we want to focus on just one, and I have a feeling which one it's going to be, and I wanted to get your guys' opinion, from the room. So, I see Keone is on. It'd be great if you could talk. Maybe I was out in the field. Keone, are you out in the field today?
No, but I saw in my face.
Yeah, that was me like 10 minutes ago. No, yeah. Oh, good. I'm happy you're on.
What's up, man? What's up, everybody?
What's up? I saw that at the meetup, Tristan and Kamahai's meetup had plenty of people. Yeah, I was like,
It's becoming a good thing. There's a lot of people. Yeah,
Yeah.
good vibes. Always good vibes.
the house
Yeah,
is
that
sick.
was an interesting one. I did not know that Alex took over the house, dude.
Oh yeah, Alex is gonna be
Yeah.
living in there.
Yeah, so even better, man. What a win-win for now, man. So awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that.
So everybody knows where Alex is gonna live now. Just go bring your paddle boards, go store them at his house.
Yeah.
That's what I told him. No, Yeah, Jeremy did a solid because Alex always he never really planned to stay long term. He was just gonna rent for a little while, and then so he has been renting, and then his landlord all of a sudden like wants to sell the unit, right? So that's why it's like that's there's good and bad to renting, right? And most of the time it's always better to own, but there in his circumstance, like renting just made sense. But now that you got to pick up and move, that's just a reminder of why like you rather own than rent, right? Because you're not in control. So, but it worked out for him because now he gets to go live in Jeremy's house for a little while. And Jeremy's house
It's a
it
sick
looks
bag.
sick. I haven't done
Yeah, it's a sick bag. Yeah.
Yeah. And Chris Allen's on the line, Kill, and I want to introduce you guys later, but he's going to be running more of our conventional arm with our branch. The Pac Bay is the company. We'll be running the Hawaii branch. So he'll be taking charge alongside Adam, who we'll bring them on for a future call. But today I kind of want to talk about like more of the acquisition side. That's why it is good to have you on, Kyoto. Sorry to get you in the middle of breakfast or brunch. But like when I was thinking about starting to source deals again and kind of building a team and what strategy we're going to focus on there, I realized there's so much different strategies out there, especially nowadays where you can pull lists, you can skip trace, and then you can cold call, you can mass text, you know, direct mail, bandit signs. But with all the strategies there, I wanted to ask to see, hopefully there's some wholesalers in the room too, or people who are marketing, like what have you guys been seeing out there in the terms of conversion and response rates? Because back in like 2015, when I started doing, actually it was 2013, when I started doing direct mail real heavy to try to get my first deal, you know, and like, I got slaughtered, man. I spent like thousands of dollars on marketing and didn't get a deal for like a year. So I lost a lot of money that I didn't have at the time, right? And all it took was just one simple change to my marketing piece, which was changing. I was sending like glossy kind of postcards. We buy houses with a stock image of like a house and money or something. I don't know. And I realized that was a big mistake because, and I don't know if you guys know Sean Terry, but he's a wholesaler and out of Phoenix, I believe still, but he kind of does business in other markets. But I was part of his kind of mastermind, and I sent him a photo of my postcard because he asked me, I told him my response rate, and he's like, oh yeah, that's not good at all. He said, send me a picture of your postcard. So I sent it, and he told me that the problem was the marketing piece, which was kind of surprising because he would teach even himself. He would say like, it doesn't really matter the marketing strategy or the marketing piece. It really matters if you catch them at the right time and if you have the right skills to build rapport with a seller. But he did say that there are some ways to improve your marketing pieces. And the reason why mine wasn't working at the time and I lost thousands of dollars was that it looked too fancy. It looked too nice. It looked like junk mail, which it was, you know, so big lesson that I learned there. So he sent me a template of a postcard that he knew worked well, which turned out to be Chris Chico's postcard. I don't know if you guys know Chris Chico or if he's still in the business or because he was right alongside Sean Terry, kind of coaching and mentoring. He had all the training systems, and I think he was the one that really kind of coined the term virtual wholesaling. And so everyone started using his postcard because it worked. And his postcard was just a yellow card about this big. and it was just a block of text, like no spaces, like, or no indents between paragraphs or anything. It was just a block of text. It was ugly. And man, that postcard got huge conversion rates. But I think everyone started taking this training system and stuff, and the market got a little saturated with it because the conversion rate started to go down. But if I wanted to kind of put it out there, does anyone still do direct mail right now? Keone, you do? And what do you do? Like letters, cards?
I do both letters
Both?
and cards. Yeah. I just keep trying. I mean, it's not 100% consistent, as we talk about always being consistent. I do it on a bi-monthly, but it's just focused. So rather than casting it wide, I have just a neighborhood that I consistently just actually put that to, because otherwise it gets super expensive for me. You know, like I try to capture and cast a wide net doing all these, you know, outbounds and whatnot, the marketing piece. So rather than going like 1,000 plus, like, I mean, it just gets crazy because I need at least 7 touches, you know, like getting it out there. So I just focus on an actual area, whether it's an actual building or a neighborhood. I don't go with zip codes, no. So within a zip code, I will actually focus on one neighborhood and I'll just barrage it and see what takes place with those letters and cards.
Yeah. And did you, what have you been finding that's working better?
As far as marketing,
yeah, do you get better response with the postcard? Like, do you get better response with the postcard or the letters?
For me, it's actually postcards. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking like, and I tried different things, right? The letters are more intimate, right? Like the postcard, you can only put so much. And then the glossy ones, I have the glossy ones as well. And I get more responses, maybe not all positive, but I am getting responses back to the postcards, the front and back ones. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, because like there's a give and take. Postcards is like they don't have to open it, like actually physically open the thing to look at it, right?
Yeah.
So there's pluses and minuses because they can just read a little bit and then just throw it away, right? But for a letter, at least they can kind of, when they open it, at least they're taking the time to open it, read it. So I've found that postcards work better too. And I've always heard that the letters are actually higher conversion, but I think it's more if it's handwritten.
Yes. Yeah. And you can already order those that to be handwritten as well. You don't need to physically handwrite it as well. Even on the cover of your envelope, you can actually do like, you know, they have doodles, right? You can actually do doodles on it to catch it. Looks like little kids. You can do crayons. You can do all of these things so it doesn't look like a regular. So I've tried those, and in my you know, KPIs, I guess, you know, like the feedback for me in these areas that I'm focusing on, the postcards get a little more traction, the response rate. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I found the same.
The letters are actually getting taken as junk mail, and it just gets thrown out. I'm not really getting a high return rate, at least for me, anyways. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you, since as you're marketing, are you introducing yourself to the homeowner as an agent as well? Like you have to disclose that, or are you just saying, I want to buy your property?
Yeah, 100%. So any marketing piece, whether I'm actually on the phone or it's a letter or anything, it's you have to disclose in some type of way. That's just law, right? That's our responsibility to do it if you're a licensed agent. So the way you go about it or whatnot. So all of my marketing pieces, whether it's a letter or it's a postcard, on there it'll actually say, you know, something about being a licensed, you know, agent in the state of Hawaii or whatnot. And then put it out there. And even when I'm on the phone, whether it's the first thing that I say or it's before I hang up, it's my responsibility to also disclose that I'm a licensed agent in the state of Hawaii, right? So That's a requirement. And I am always doing that in whatever marketing piece that I have. So before I hang up, because at the end of the day, we all want to get on the phone. That's our job, right? To actually talk to them or even face to face. But it's not about listing the house. I mean, we can always pivot to that, but either way, you should always be disclosing. Yeah, I do.
And have you gotten listings from marketing for investing or no?
Oh, yeah. So I have, but what I do is like I consider myself an investor agent. So I was having this conversation at our meetups, and everybody, a lot of people are getting their license. So they're all coming to me, asking me how it is. And like, you know, like people are scared about liability and whatnot. And I went through all of that when I first started. Now it's not a big deal for me. I went through a lot of trials as far as arbitrations and mediations just because of whatever. It's just, you know, agents not understanding the whole thing and just kind of being nosy about it. So it's okay. We deal with these things. And I've gone through HBR, I have to go on through courses, you know, I had to talk to my brokers. They have to get involved with all of these things. And it's just a waste of time. But again, it's okay. It's an education piece. So my answer to that was, again, disclose. And I've never had an issue with that, you know what I mean? With that piece, I'm just very upfront. And then your question was, have you ever got listings from it? My thing is always from an investor first. I want to try and help you out, you know, like the house and whatnot. But if they want top dollar, then I will turn my hat around and I will pivot and help them out on that. And sounds like you want top dollar, perfect. But I don't want to list it for them. I'll have them, I'll go over with them, then I'll refer it out. I have my agents that I'll also refer out to, and then I can help them out. So it's part of my team. Hey, and then I'll just take the referral fee, right? We set them up if that's what they truly want. At the end of the day, if I can help them, because it sounds like the numbers, right? It just won't work, you know, and it's like, but they want top dollar, okay, perfect. Have you ever worked at a realtor? Then you start working on that conversation. Let me introduce you, how can I help you? And then boom, let me call you right back. And then I just send them right off and refer it out. Yeah. So I don't take all these things because I don't sit. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And we're going to be utilizing that strategy because I've been thinking about this for a long time, and where we're going to start getting more into the wholesale side to help, you know, find these hidden deals, on the hidden market that are just wasting away, taking up land, right? And our precious land here. And so I guess I can talk about it right now. My idea, guys, okay, is I want to create an army of people driving for dollars locally here and test it. We'll stress test it. We'll work out the kinks. But my idea, this is my strategy that we're going to utilize. Find people who will have the heart and the will to do what we do, right? Because it's not easy. Like, you got to have that first. You don't have that, you might as well just go apply somewhere else, you know, and get a W-2. Like, you need that inside of you, others you're never gonna make it. And as long as they have that, the desire, you know, I'll pay, like, I don't know, how much would you guys pay for an address for driving for dollars? Because most people don't pay anything. They say they'll pay when they close. I'll pay them up front. Like, because driving for dollars is a higher quality list. You know, I mean, you're either dealing with distressed assets or distressed homeowners, right? Or both. And at least for driving for dollars, like, you know, the asset's distressed because you're looking at it or somebody had eyes on it. So my thought is that that's a higher quality list, and we're already paying $1 something for a list to pull for absentee owners out of state or whatever. You know, like, I mean, I'd pay more for a driving for dollars list for sure. But when we get these addresses, you know, we'll pay by the address, and we'll also compensate on the back if we close. But my idea is, the approach I want to take is, instead of having us call, right, we'll have our realtor call, our realtor and their team, as long as they're savvy and you trust them with negotiating and being able to find out what their needs are while building rapport, you know. I feel I've never tried this because I've always wanted to just talk to them directly, and I think I gotta let go of the fact that I'm probably not only am I not the best, I'm probably like less qualified than maybe a realtor who is constantly sourcing deals and making cold calls and it's got the groove, they got momentum and they're going. So I think it's less intrusive for the initial call to come from your realtor. And the conversation will go somewhere along the lines of, hi, Mr. Seller, I am a licensed realtor here in Hawaii. And I have an investor who's looking to buy properties in your area, and what your property is one of the properties he's interested in. Would you entertain an offer? And that way, most of the times they'll probably say no, but I think a good amount of times, they might entertain speaking because they're not speaking directly with the person who is looking to buy their house. So they feel like they don't have to be, they're not immediately in a negotiation, right? They're just, someone's interested in buying my property. And look, I mean, if the property is vacant and just sitting there, somebody's paying taxes on it, somebody's liable for it. Somebody's hopefully paying, insurance and everything else that's supposed to go along those lines, association fees, if there are any. And then I think they'd be willing to entertain an offer. If they're not motivated, then perhaps it's a listing for your realtor too, right? So that's then it frees us up to focus on getting more deals, and running numbers and lining up financing and siphoning the leads that are coming through on the list. So that's my idea. Is the strategy I think we're going to focus on is driving for dollars, skip tracing, and cold calls, or calls directly to the owner, but using a realtor instead of going direct now. And I have a feeling that this is going to work, and I want to scale it first here on Oahu, because these are properties that are not in circulation, so they mean more to our local economy than the ones that are wasting away but get listed on the MLS. That's already in circulation, it's already on the radar. What about the ones that are sitting vacant and they're dump sites, squatters are there, and it's just sometimes there's the trees around it, or there's that one house in town that had rats that infested the house, and it started to just cause major problems to the neighbors and everything. Like, that's a problem with the city. Like, the city will come in and condemn it. Or is it the state, the city or the state? So I think finding one of those properties that is off market, that nobody can get in touch with the owners, or they just, they're sending direct mail, like flipping a house like that and putting it back on the market in circulation, I feel is worth so much more, so I want to find every single vacant, underserved property on the island. And in order to do so, like, I mean, I can't be driving the streets, every day, or riding bike and stuff. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to cultivate a team to go out there and do that. And one is like, okay, I'll pay for addresses, $1 an address, I don't know, $2 an address maybe. And maybe somebody sends in 20 addresses and you get paid $20. It's like lunch. So, and all you're doing is sending in addresses and taking a photo of the property, maybe, so we can verify that it actually is, a property that we're looking for. So what is your guys' thoughts on that? Has anyone tried that yet with that approach too?
To an extent, yes. So I wouldn't say I've gotten every single house, but I canvass Oahu. So there's a high percentage of houses that already have the list. The thing that you'll run into, Corey, is because I've skip traced all of these houses. I mean, I have a wide list. The problem that we're running into with my team is that making the initial contact to find out who's the actual owner. And then you spend countless hours just following up, because obviously when you skip trace, you get more than one number, and every number then it's like a disconnect and a disconnect, and then you just try to go down the list of whatever relatives you're getting, and you got to keep doing deeper dives, and then you end up not making contact, which is why you're like, man, why is this house sitting vacant for plus years, but there's no contact. So a lot of these houses, making that initial contact is hard because they're not responding to letters. Right. So you're trying to skip trace and get the phone numbers. So I'm noticing in my experience that you have a huge list, and then half of that list is in probate. It's like, because it's the family or somebody died and then it's stuck in the court somewhere. So and then what do you do from there? Right. So now you got to learn. So like, I'm learning more about probate. So I got to figure this out. Like, how do I catch this? So it leads down different channels, right? Like, it's nice to capture all of these vacant properties. And again, I didn't capture a lot, all of them, obviously, but on a wall, we've been doing this for like some time, and I still have this list. Just like, it's hard to I've been sitting on properties for 5 years, and I still am not able to make contact. That's how difficult it is to try and make it. And it's like, when it's that difficult, then that means everybody else held the same problem. So like, I'm trying to do deeper dives, because if I'm having it, that means everybody saw the same house, but everybody's running to it and just put it to the side. So I'm trying to crack that code, right? Your approach, as far as like approaching them on the realtor side and telling them like, hey, that's a great approach if we can make contact. I'm finding in my issues that the driving for dollars, sending out everybody there, sending you addresses is a great thing, but it's making contact that is proven to be a little difficult, not impossible, but it's taking some time. And when I just said it's taking years just to try and figure this out. So you can cultivate an army, because everybody's going to be like, hell yeah, I'll drive for dollars, find deals, and why not bring it to you, pay you whatever. But then now the real work is making contact.
Yeah. Well, that's perfect. That's the feedback I need, because we ran a test one. It was only like 12 to 14 addresses. Skip trace them. We didn't use we just used like a free online to get numbers and stuff. So we're gonna run that again through a full skip trace. Who do you use for skip tracing, Keone? Is it still TLO?
TLO, you can't do it in batch though. Yeah, like you got to do individual. That's the deeper dive. Yeah. So yes, I do. And then obviously, you can use batch, right? So like with batch driven, if you want to do driving for deals, they're an instant driving for dollars app that you just download on your phone, and then it just canvases it, and then you can skip trace it right on your phone. The phone numbers come up, and then you can capture it, right? Instead of wasting time writing it down manually, batch driven app is what we use. Then that way everything is on there, and the whole neighborhood, so you can canvas the neighborhood and just save it all in your file. So if you're in Waianae or if you're in Kailua, it's going to bring up all the neighborhoods, all the houses. And as you're driving by, boom, like, oh, that house, don't look at like, I think that's the one, save already, and just keep moving. And don't try to dial it. Capture all the houses during your time, and then go home and just go back to the file. Because otherwise you notice that if you try to do everything on your phone and whatnot, 1 hour goes by, you only got 2 houses.
Yeah.
Your job is to just capture all these houses, capture all the houses, keep going down the street, and then that way and it tells you, because otherwise you start doing this enough, you're like, shit, did I drive this house? It all looks the same already. So if you map out, your routes, that way you'll know that you won't double back on the same house, because you can see it as you're driving, right? Like if you're Googling or whatever. So it's a great app in my opinion. There's other apps out there, but that's the ones that I've been using, and I capturing it and it's set up on my files. Like this is like Makaha or Wine, like every neighborhood individually, all the streets. That way you can always go back. Like, did I miss that house? Did I miss this? And no, I did go down that street. So yeah, that makes sense.
No, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And actually, Kelly was bringing up that too, except it was a different app though. Yeah, Kelly, what was it, like driving for dollars app or something?
Deal Machine.
Yep.
Deal Machine.
Gotcha.
Now it allows you to leverage other drivers and monitor drivers and be able to bring them on board so that they don't have to pay for the software, because that's always the other thing too for people who's new and starting off. You're gonna have to invest time and the money, the software on your phone, instead of physically writing the address of every house. So being able to provide that for people, I think would be beneficial, because now they don't have to worry about an expense as far as getting an app, downloading the app. Everything can be through a hub, and then now they're not overlapping each other or sending you the same address because it's already got captured. So you don't have to worry about 17 drivers going down the same block, right? It already got tagged, and you can see like a snail trail on the apps.
So, and that's going to be important, especially if we're going to be paying per address, right? Like you got to make sure that these guys aren't sending in the same addresses. And we don't want them wasting time either. So I think we might have to get on one of those apps to track the areas. And well, anyways, that's my kind of strategy we're working on now to start with, because I feel like most of the other kind of niches are kind of taken care of pretty well, right? Like the absentee owner list, probate, pre-foreclosure, all those I think are pretty saturated. But and plus, if we really want to make a difference, like what are the properties that really need our help? And I think those are the ones that are on the hidden market, not in circulation, vacant for a long time. And it's going to be harder to get in touch with them, which is what we found too, because we ran a test of like 12 to 14 addresses, and Ashley only got in touch with one homeowner, but when she got in touch with him, he wasn't interested in selling just yet, but it's because he was getting a lot of postcards and stuff. But Ash was able to build the rapport enough to that it sounds like if he ever does this in the near future, he would call her. But other than that, the numbers weren't going through, but we weren't using a skip tracing service yet. So we'll try it, and I'll keep everybody updated, I guess, on how it goes. But if you guys have strategies or tried it and have warning signs like Keone's giving us, then please let us know.
No, it's a good tool, Corey. So like obviously we came up together. So like a lot of those deals that I found, being a licensed agent, what you're basically suggesting, and that's how I actually got it up to not be so intrusive, using my license to my advantage. That's why I always called it an unfair advantage. As one of our mentors was saying, that it's a liability. You should consider not taking, using your license, because as an investor, it'll get you in trouble, which was half true. Because I mean, like I was getting into, these things, but I didn't know what I didn't know. But I always feel to this point, I'm 12 years plus into it, being a licensed agent, being full-time investor over 5 years now, I don't regret anything. I feel that it's an amazing tool to use, as being a licensed agent. So what you're suggesting, as far as when you're getting on the phone with them, that's how I got all of those deals to wholesale, right? I wasn't looking to list it, right? I use it as like an non-intrusive way, because you get all these investors calling these people and they're like, scam, fraud, blah, blah, blah. But once you tell them you're a licensed agent, you're automatically held to a higher standard. And I love that. With or without my license, I am ethical to begin with. Not everybody is, right? But I take pride in that. And that's why I relay that. So like using this as an advantage, that's one of my secret ninja tips, that when I get on the phone and they're like, wait, what? I go, and then I use the whole license thing, and then it eases the conversation. It brings down, you can tell the tonation goes down, like everything is just like, okay. But then again, I switch the hat. I know you don't want to pay the 6% commissions. I know, the house and that, so I can save you money. Then you put on the investor hat, right? And then if they feel like, oh, okay, now they know, right? Hey, look me up, like I'm in there. So they can look me up. I'm licensed. I give them my number. I mean, it's just calming everybody down. But I don't want to list your house. But if that's the route you want to go, we'll just go down the path. You don't know where this conversation, there's no script. You can see all the scripts, but like, you just got to feel the conversation, right? And feel it out. And that's the way I've always done it. So like the path that you're talking about, it works. It does work, because I've been using it. You know what I mean? But not everybody's licensed. So you can't tell your team to use it, right? They can only elevate the conversation, which is what I tell my virtual assistants. We can do that, right? Hey, we are licensed in the state of Hawaii. If that's the path you want to go, and then like, let me basically elevate this conversation to a licensed agent to help you if they want to go that route. Right.
Right.
Because they can't.
I always felt that way.
Yeah.
Because before, yeah, we were told like it was it's gonna, it doesn't help, it hurts you.
Yes.
But I always felt that way, especially if you're taking the approach where you were going direct, where saying I'm the buyer, I'm looking to buy it, which is
Yes.
even a little harder. But if you have somebody in there representing you to make the calls, for one, then you don't got to worry about the cold call, right? You just let them come in. It's unintrusive, less unintrusive,
Yeah.
and so they might be more open to give more information quicker, maybe even on the first call, right? Because it's very rare you're going to close on the first call.
Yeah. That rapport
unless
building
they're
eases the tension. So I'm sharing that, like, the plan that you're saying, it works because it's like non-intrusive, right? Once you say licensed agent, they're like, oh, okay, so this is not this freaking investor saying he has money, want to buy my house cash, but you know, they don't know you from anybody else. But once you say this agent thing, that's all they know, right? When they hear real estate, it's like, okay, this is a licensed agent. Look me up. You give them the number. It just eases the tension because all they're getting is they're getting blasted, right? Like, I mean, if we're just talking Hawaii alone and the investors here, every single guy is getting blasted with phone calls, you know, like from skip tracing, from VAs. I mean, everybody's just getting pounded, you know, all these owners, and they're tired of it. So this approach, okay, perfect. This guy's willing to pay me, or like, I know this is a licensed agent rather than just some investor telling me their spiel about wanting to buy my house in cash. It's a little different. Yeah.
And then they can, here's another benefit. They can also speak about you in ways that you can't speak about yourself, right? They can say, hey, you know, my investors, they're very professional. They know what they need, and they can give a quick yes or no. They close all the time. They do this full time, you know, they operate with high integrity. And if it doesn't work out for you, then they have no problems with that because it's a business for them, you know, like, so they can be the filter and the conduit for I guess siphoning the good words too. So I mean, we can't really say that. It's like, I'm the best investor, you know, like, I know all these other investors are calling you, but I'm the best, you know, it doesn't work. So I think it creates that little insulation between you and the homeowner, right? So even if you pull a list of maybe like absentee owners or something, like maybe outsource that, but outsource, don't just maybe cultivate a call center or something, you know, like you gotta train them from scratch. Like, we don't got time for that. Like, maybe we gotta put our realtors who we know who are good on the phone and put them on the list. Why would they want to call a list of 1,000 people? Well, because that's a list of possibly, you know, some listings there. So I think it works both ways, and I'm kind of surprised that people don't utilize realtors more in that way on the acquisition side, pre-contract, you know. So Zaylin, what strategies are you using for marketing, or are you even marketing, or is it all relationship driven?
Yeah, so we're doing a bunch of cold calling. We did have a VA. Yeah, and that's basically what we're doing. I mean, I don't have a high conversion rate like, you know, Keone and all that, but I did get 3 deals from cold calling.
Nice. Oh, well, that's good. I mean, it's working, right? So
I wanted to give you a tip on skip tracing as well. So like when you start skip tracing volume, it's gonna be freaking expensive, right? Like you pull, it's like what, 10 to 15 cents. Me and my old partner, we decided to switch over to Versium, and it's flat rate every single month. And the lowest plan is $250 a month, and it's for 15,000 skip trace. So if you do the math, right, if you pay 12 cents for 15,000, that's what, $2,000? Is it $2,000?
Right. Yeah.
15 times 1,500. Yeah, $2,000, right? It's like it saves you a bunch of money because you're only paying $250 for 15,000 a month, compared if you skip trace it individually with like PropStream or Batch Leads.
Right. So what was it called? Versium?
Yeah, Versium.Versium.
Wow, I never heard of that one. Okay.
And you know,
Have you guys-
obviously we were using PropStream before, and then we compared the data after we pulled it, and then it's pretty much the same. If not, like we noticed that the best number, they have a feature where you can get best number versus all numbers. I don't know what it's actually called, but usually best number would be the most highly pickup rate out of that. And we noticed on our dialer and talking to my VA, we're getting a lot more pickups after we switched to best number on Versio.
Nice. Okay. Dersium. Okay. And that's a flat fee, $250 a month, but you get up to like 15,000 skip traces. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think I'm gonna skip trace 15,000. I mean, that would
Yeah.
be sweet.
A
That's a
lot of
lot.
people, you know, they recycle their lists, right? They re-skip trace it after you build up a whole bunch of lists. They trace it maybe like 2 to 3 months just to see if the data updated. And that's what we do or that's what I do now. Like every 3 months, I plan to re-skip trace it just to see if data changes.
Right. Okay. Oh, thanks, man. Thank you, guys. I'm getting so much value because I'm putting it out there. Like I wanted to talk more about the acquisition side, but like I think hopefully everyone's getting some great information because if you're starting out wholesaling, like you need to know this stuff. You know, we didn't really have skip tracing when I started. There was like LexisNexis, and I made the big mistake where I call I signed up with them, and then I had my call, and I think Kyoto knows this, and they're asking, oh, what do you need the skip tracing for? And I was like, oh, I want to send marketing pieces to like these leads, you know, I'm an investor, I want to buy houses. They're like, ooh, sorry, cannot. And then I was on the list where like I do not serve this guy. Like, so I couldn't get in anymore. But then all these other companies started popping up, you know, and I asked Keith Gillespie, and he recommended IDI. So we've been in talks with them. We haven't committed yet, but I think you pay like $1 a skip trace or something. There's a plan for like $1 a skip trace. But now that you're mentioning Dersium, I think that's a lot more affordable. Because pretty sure we're going to skip trace more than 250 a month, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, is there any other strategies that you guys do for sourcing deals, lists?
I mean, we were doing something similar, you know, paying people, not necessarily upfront, but we're enticing them like, hey, we'll give you a percentage if we close on it. But what we ran into, right, is because we are also pulling less. So we had to set the expectation to the people who's basically bird dogging for us that, hey, if it's on our list, I'm sorry, like we already pulled it. Like I'm not gonna pay you for something I already pulled. But more than likely, like you'll have other leads that they go driving for dollars that's not on your list.
Yeah. And that's the thing, that's some of the logistics that we're having to plan out. And it's because if we're going to pay $1 a lead, we want to set expectations up front too. Like, and then we have to have procedures in place to protect them from driving the same neighborhoods and putting the same addresses, because we don't want to waste people's time, you know. So
I would highly recommend maybe going in teams as well. It'll be a lot more efficient,
Yeah.
it'll be more expensive for you, but like the last thing you want is you hire someone to go driving and they're looking on their app trying to save a house and they crash into a parked car or something, you know.
Right. Oh, that's a great idea. That I never thought of that one. Yeah, so teaming up. Plus it's a little it's more fun, right? I mean, shit. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't enjoy it. So teams, okay. Because I was wondering, like, all right, do we just put it out there and just let everybody go and there's going to be same addresses come in and stuff like that? But then it becomes arbitrary. It's like, oh, these guys just keep saying they already have that address. So do they really already have? Then they start questioning, you know, our character or something. So we want to eliminate that. And then driving the same neighborhoods, you know, we don't want people wasting their time. We don't want people crashing. So this is good. This is great input for me because I never thought of that one. But and then
I think in PropStream you can actually save the routes, so you can assign drivers and then save the routes so that way they don't overlap.
Okay, so I think what I'm getting from this now, because we never made a decision yet, but is that it probably is best to not open it up to many people. We have to select people probably strategically, maybe like, what area do they live in and work in, so that they can canvas that area and they'll own that territory, I guess. Yeah, I think that is the way we gotta go.
So I don't know if the deal.
Oh,
No, go ahead,
go
bro.
ahead,
Go ahead.
okay. I was just gonna say, I think $1 might be, I mean, this is just me.
High?
I think $1 is a bit expensive. I mean, yeah, high, because I mean, if you drive to areas in like Waianae, right? You can go down one street, two streets, and you can probably get 50 in like 10 minutes.
Shit, you're right.
Right. So I
You're
mean,
right.
I don't know. That's just me, but I think, in my opinion, maybe because I can't afford to pay someone $1 a lead per dog. That's just me.
It can add up. It definitely can add up, I think. But I'm just thinking, like, if we were to pull a big list and market, we might pay like $1.50 to pull the list and mail. This one we might be paying like maybe $2, because $1 for the address to come in, $1 to skip trace. Am I missing anything else? No, about $2. Let's say $2 an address. So if you get 500 addresses, that's $1,000, right? I mean, $1,000 for a driving for dollars list, I think I would pay that rather than just an absentee owner list. I think I would because I feel it's a more valuable list, but like Keone said, the hardest part is going to be getting in touch with them, right? Because even when you skip trace and you do a deep dive into the owner, sometimes it's just it's distressed for a reason, right? Because these are been sitting vacant for 10 years for a reason. And sometimes the reason is you just can't find the owner and stuff. So perhaps that is something that we're gonna run into. I guess we'll know on a large scale when we start, doing this on a larger scale. But yeah, I mean, $1 is a lot. I wish somebody paid me $1 when I was driving for dollars. Like, shoot, that could have helped me a lot. Especially now, gas is expensive.
I mean, I'll do it if you're gonna pay $1.
Dude, your time's worth more. No, yeah, but for like a 19, 20-year-old who's just coming out of college, who's getting interested in investing in real estate, wants to learn, he's coming to the meetups, he or she just wants to get their feet wet. I think that's a great position, to start. And but I think, okay, building a team maybe is best, because then you can hold some accountability, right?
So here's a couple of things that I have. Like I said, I have a team doing this already. Yeah. So here's some things that helps out. You brought up the point with the gas. So
Yeah.
with batch driven, it allows you, and I don't know what I was gonna say is, I don't know, Kelly, with the other one with the deal machine, does it allow you to do virtual driving for dollars as well? Because you can do virtually. You can drive virtually and save gas. So if you already know, like I said, you pick a neighborhood and you can drive that entire neighborhood virtually, right? But you just can validate and verify. So you take down all the addresses to be more efficient. So like, and you talk about teams, right? So you wait till the weekend. What I do is with families who have kids, get in the van. It's a game now that the kids can all play. We're all gonna go down this street. The driver's gonna do that. You have all these addresses already set up, and you're gonna be looking for these houses just to validate. So you already did it online. Mom who might be staying at home, or dad might be a stay-at-home parent, they're online virtually looking for all these houses. You accumulate all of these properties on this app. Now on the weekend comes, kiddos, get in the van. We're gonna do, and it only takes 1 hour, right? So now it's a family game, but now you're validating all of these addresses that you found online, like, oh yeah, boom, boom, because it's easier now, rather than like, sir, you just drive because you're looking and you're like driving super slow, where you started getting sketched, right? Because you're like, who are these guys driving slow? In some neighborhoods, you don't want to be driving that slow, validating addresses, right? And I say, Waianae, Makaha, like, you don't want to be caught, driving too slow down some roads. Anyways, that's a tip that I've already been sharing with, and it helps and it makes it fun, especially for the weekend, Saturdays and Sundays. Obviously, Sundays, a lot of people go to church. It might be even after church, but they just block out time block 1 hour, 2 hours before they go to eat and take the family out. Hey, we just got to go finish this and validate. It helps out rather than truly manually driving for dollars. They've already done it virtually. Now let's just validate all of these addresses and just drive down the street and then check it all off. And then that might be something they just hand off to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love it. All right, that makes sense. Okay, so.
And the reason why is because you can do other islands, you can do other states, right? That's what virtually you can be from Oahu. But I'm not. My market is not Oahu. I'm Alabama. I'm Mississippi. But I can virtually drive anywhere in the nation, right? So that's what virtual driving for dollars. But I use it for Oahu, right? Like shit, because sometimes you can't really tell on the street like that. I don't know that picture, is that current? You know, I don't know if that's current because everybody tells you to look at the house, look at the roof, but I'm like, I was just on that street, man. That house looks tore up, but on this virtual, it's not that bad. It's 5 years, that's why, right? If they're using Google. So that's the problem with it, right? That's why the manual helps. I'm just saying that you can virtually drive, and those houses from 5 years ago look even worse now. But if you can see it virtually, like that's the one, that's the one. So I'm just putting that out there that a lot of these photos, I think they're getting better now, right? I think I just came back from a seminar that it's gonna be killers. Like all of this AI stuff that's coming down the pipe, it's gonna be wicked, and it's gonna be like literally updated daily. Yeah, they're gonna have all of these cars driving around just updating all of these photos. But for now, we're left with 5 to 10 year Google photos, right? So yeah.
Hey Corey.
So, oh
Hey,
yeah,
Corey,
go
real
here.
quick. This is up to you guys, but there's an agent, I can't say the agent's name. It's pretty ingenious. This agent does delivery service, you know, those deliveries, not Uber, DoorDash, whatever, and deliver food because it gives them an excuse to look for the house. And what the agent does after he delivers his food, the agent just scans around and go, "Ooh, look at this house over here," and then he writes it down.
Uber drivers are perfect, right? Like,
You know, you get paid, right? Keone was talking about being, you know, skeptical around the neighborhood. You can be a food delivery, you make money, right? It's on your own
Yep.
time, and you can. He said that he sees some houses that you had never seen, and he would just look at it, write it down, and someone says, "Hey, what are you doing here?" "Oh, I'm delivering food." "Oh, okay, you're all right." And then they deliver food,
right.
and then sometimes he'll deliver food, and the house is like, "Holy smokes, who's buying food here?" But then he would write down the address, and then he would look it up. Just an ingenious way. You make money at the same time, right? Everybody wants
Yep.
to eat. So just an idea.
No, that's a great idea.
To add on that as well, so the guys that I've been using drive trucks around, so the delivery drivers, and they're either USPS or UPS or FedEx, and so they're
Yep.
the guys who's on my boots on ground.
Right. Another one too, I don't know, but talk to the mail service in the area. Hey, how's it? You know, they know the area, you know, and make friends with the mailman or mail person, excuse me, and they would know who would what in the neighborhood.
That's a great point. Yeah. The mailman, like one of my good friends was mailman with USPS. And he said, "Dude, your mailman knows more about you than you think." He goes, "Man, this guy knows who's getting divorced, who's selling their house, who's getting foreclosed on, who hasn't paid their taxes."
The one you want to ask is what house is getting a lot of return mail?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yep, that's a good one. Oh, this is good stuff. Well, one thing when Keone was talking, it was about like, well, what we were talking about with our strategy and how we're going to do it. I think the magic that we're testing is going to be one, finding the best way to scale but contain the driving for dollars strategy, right? So it sounds like Keone has tried it and is still using it, and there has been problems that he's had to work around, which is great because it helps me, you know, like trim the fat when we're going in there. At least be prepared for what we're walking into, and then. But it's also the approach. Like I'll give this example. Last bit of Wednesday, we had committee meeting in the NPLA. So I'm the co-chair on the membership committee in the NPLA. So there's like 5 committees, and the membership committee is in charge of bringing in new members and also servicing existing members. So those are the kind of the 2 goals, is to grow with quality, but also to provide value to the existing members. And the reason why, like, I really want to be on the membership committee, and I've been on it for 3 years now, is when I first started, there was the mastermind here that Cheryl ran, and you had to be at least, you had to have had at least 1 deal under your belt to be in the room. And at that time, in 2012-ish, I think 2012, 2013, I didn't have any deals. But I was invited to be the administrator, right? So I was like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll work for free and volunteer to sit in the room. And I found out later, like, that was the biggest blessing for me, because since I was the administrator, even though I was the guy in the room who knew the least and had the least resources, who wasn't even supposed to be in the room, everybody had to go through me. So I had to know every single person in that room, their phone number, and all their questions came to me first. So I became like an influence inside that mastermind. And then a lot of those people I still do business with today, and some of them are my mentors still to this day. So I wanted to be in the membership committee when we joined the NPLA, right? And one of our tasks is, for new members, we all call them, and we call existing members. So we have a pulse on everybody in the NPLA. So when I'm talking about hard money and private lending and stuff, like, I think me and Alex, because Alex is on the committee too, we have a good pulse on what's going on in the money. We're not just a member of the NPLA. We're not just a member on a committee. We're a member on the membership committee. And I've served for 3 years now. And the problem we run into with the NPLA is that it's a room full of CEOs, presidents, chairmen, like these large companies. So we all have great ideas, but we're all visionaries. So we all have these great ideas to execute on, but nothing really gets done, So, and it's a reminder for our last call when we had Layla on, because Layla's a true integrator. And not only is she an integrator, she's a great integrator. And there she is. Hi, Layla. I'm talking about you. I like your fancy Friday. But Layla is a true integrator. And it hasn't been more clear, like, how important it is to have integrate. They're just as important as visionaries, right? But visionaries get all the shine. They're the ones that are on the podcast and all this, but really you need integrators. So what I found that, a strategy that we're going to utilize for the NPLA, because the NPLA's goal is to continue to gain influence so that it can help protect our space. Most investors do not know how much the NPLA and private lenders, your hard money lender, they're fighting for your business. They're fighting to protect this industry, because there's a lot of legislation that you guys won't even hear about, that are trying to be passed to crush us. And a lot of them are being brought up just so that a politician can make a name for himself, like that bill in California where they're trying to tax house flippers. They made it so ridiculous that they're finding that it's not going to pass. And it's almost designed so ridiculous so that somebody can just get their name out there. I don't know who that person is or whatever, but it's sounding like it's not going to go anywhere. But the NPLA is trying to gain influence, right? So that we can have a stronger voice to protect our industry. So with that in mind, the membership committee has been brainstorming, and what we found is we need to create a list, like a sniper list of all of the influencers the companies that are in our industry. This means even like CoStar, CoreLogic, service providers as well, title agencies. But we're looking for the companies like Goldman Sachs or Blackstone, or Open Door, Zillow, auction.com. We're trying to find principals in that company to help talk to them about the MPLA and why they should have representation in the association. Okay, so it's not an easy task to execute upon, especially when you have a room full of chiefs. Nothing gets done. So what we decided to do is to target specific principals in these companies that are in our space that have a lot of influence, right? So as we're brainstorming this, though, it's not just locating the people on the list. Then we have to think about, okay, who from the MPLA is the best person to speak to that person about the MPLA? Because sometimes it's not the best. You can't just throw anybody to go talk to them, cold. They're busy. They have a lot on their plate too. So we have to be strategic about our approach. And so the approach was the last thing. So one is, who is going to be that person to speak with the principal, right? And what approach are they going to take? Because when we're talking to like the president of CoreLogic, it's going to be a different conversation of why they should join the MPLA over maybe the vice president of residential housing in Blackstone. It's going to be a different approach, different conversation. So what I've learned being in a small room with a lot of smart people is that we have to look at it from all angles, right? And if we just pull a list cold and we just call them, like, you're going to get deals for sure. But is that the best approach, right? Maybe not. Is there a better way? Can we be more efficient? Can we leverage other people's time and expertise, right? So now that I've kind of learned how we need to start seeing everything in a bigger scope, it's helped me with strategizing for like this wholesaling side, right? It's like, all right, what is the best approach? Because otherwise, if I didn't think about that, and Alex is reading a great book, and maybe I'll let him share it himself because he was sharing it with me. It's about levels of consciousness, right? And some people, especially executives of large companies, typically, they're there in that position for a reason. They earned it, right? They typically have maybe a higher level of consciousness in business, right? And so being in the room with the members of the MPLA on the committee, I feel it has opened my mind to the next level of consciousness in business, where it's not just about, because otherwise I would have just said, hey guys, go die for dollars. Can you send a list? We'll pay you $1 and I'm going to call them, right? Myself. One, I probably am not the best. And two, it's like, there's a better approach. I think a softer approach, bringing in a realtor to do it. Someone that you trust who can at least, carry a conversation. So the two lessons I've been learning are kind of piggybacking off of each other, and I wanted to just share that with you guys. And hopefully one day, Alex can talk about the book he's reading, because I've been trying to find the words for the levels of consciousness that I've been learning about for a long time. And it was just like 2 nights ago when he was explaining to me what he's been reading and I was like, oh my God, that is exactly what I've been trying to pinpoint. And because for instance, Alex and I and Aiden are working on closing a big deal and there's a guy in the middle who's very savvy, and every time he hangs up, I'm like, I get him. Like, I understand every word that he says, and I love the way he's looking at this from all angles, because this one we're brokering, and when you broker a deal, it's an art, you know, because you have to manage emotions on both sides. You have to manage what needs to get done. You're managing timelines, and especially at that level, sometimes there's a lot of egos involved, right? And everybody doesn't really need to close the deal with that person. Everybody doesn't need each other, you know, and we're in the middle, the small guys, you know, the brokers would be like, no, guys, come on, it's okay. Try to keep it together. So sometimes you're stuck in positions where it's like, God, like I wish I had somebody who just thought on the same level as us, you know. And our guy who's brokering alongside us, like I couldn't explain to Alex what it was. All I could say is like, I love Bill. Like Bill is the real deal. We're gonna close a lot of deals with Bill because of he's the real deal, and that's the only way I could think about. But then Alex explained it in a way that I was trying to understand, which is he is on a different level of consciousness in business, you know, like where he's not way up there like the guys we're trying to close with, you know. We're on the same level, and that's why everything makes sense to me. So I don't even know if that made sense to you guys, but it's a huge lesson I've been learning this week. So I don't know, Alex, if you even have anything to add to that, but I had a breakthrough this week. So
yeah, guys, if you guys want to jot this down, there's 2 books. The first one's called Power versus Force. It's absolutely amazing. As far as being able to understand and read people and see where they're at in life, it'll really it'll remove the veil, and you'll be able to understand where people are and kind of what's going on. Because, you know, every once in a while you get off a call with somebody or something, you're like, man, like something's off. Like, you know, they're not in the right place right now. And it could be someone that you actually know, but you're just being able to tell. And the book's called Power versus Force. David R. Hawkins, unbelievable. And then the follow-up is the one I'm reading now, and it's called The Map of the Consciousness, or The Map of the Consciousness. Yeah, and it's ridiculous. So it really just shows you where everybody calibrates, and it talks about how you know, this has been studied and calibrated, and all the different feelings and like emotions and things we feel, they have a calibration, and it affects your energy level. And that's why, like, whenever you're in shame or guilt, like whenever you feel those and you're experiencing it, you feel so like down and low and drained. But when you're experiencing courage, which is, you know, about like, I think 200 on the meter, you're excited, you know, you have a lot more energy to put in towards what you're going to do. And as you move up the scale, like, and you like, when you feel true love and joy, you're on a completely another level. You're vibrating super high. You're just positive. Everything feels good. But the thing is, it's a sliding scale. So nobody ever is just 100% sitting in love or joy. And nobody is, well, I mean, some people do get stuck down in shame and guilt. And those are the people that you see like in life, they always, everything's bad. There's no option of something good happening for them. You know, the doomsday thinkers, like, oh no, everything's always gone wrong in my life. It's going to continue to go wrong in my life. That's just because they're stuck in shame and guilt, and they're not able to get out of that. So it helps you really understand people, see where they're at, but then also be able to, you know, understand that, look, nobody is always just up here. You know, we're all going to have moments where we do slide down. And, you know, the coolest thing about it for me is now I realize, like, I know the second I have slid out of where I live at, you know, constantly. And then I'm able to realize, okay, you know, it's okay to slide out of where you want to be, but when you're there, experience what you need to be there for. Like if there's shame or guilt, experience it and try and understand it, and then release it, let it go, and then go back to where you know, like you should be vibrating and where you should be living your daily life.
No, yeah. And I didn't read it yet, but so Alex, we spent like almost 2 hours on the phone where I was asking him questions about it, and he was coming back. He's like, and using examples, real life examples of maybe deals that we're working through, or even personally, you know. And so one, I got to read that book, but two is there's a lot of lessons that I've learned throughout the week, and I've been finding maybe every quarter I have something that trying to tell me something. One quarter was gratitude, and then one quarter was what was I can't even remember what the last one was, but this one is kind of, I feel, one quarter was realizing when sometimes when you're trying to help somebody and you even go out of your way, sometimes that's doing that person a disservice. Sometimes you got to let them figure it out for themselves, because if you hold their hand too much, it's actually stifling their growth. So especially when you start to manage teams or even virtual assistants, everyone around you, actually, you have to think of yourself as a person of influence. And we all have influence over others, right? And we want to be the best influence for other people. But you have to be aware. And what I've learned last quarter is sometimes, when you being nice and helping someone to the best of your ability, sometimes that's not good for them, and when I think about it, when I look back, like there wasn't much help, in our space. There was masterminds and stuff, but there wasn't this collaboration. Like today on our call, you guys hop on a Friday to take time, and we're way over time anyways, but to brainstorm a strategy that we're going to go into. And we spent the whole call on this. So I'm sorry if it, took up too much time. Hopefully everyone got value too, but we didn't have this, early on. We had to figure it out for ourselves. And it's just like when Chris and I were talking about, what's going to happen when rates go up, like the deal flow is going to get, cut, which it did in the refi market. It's going to get harder for loan officers to get deals and originate. So what's going to happen? And because we're right in the mix of starting, our branch here. I mean, it's already rocking and rolling, but we haven't officially launched yet, did like a full launch yet. And Chris wasn't worried at all, because he's been in the business for a long time. And he knows how to hunt for his own kill because he wasn't handed anything from his brokerage, that he was working with. In fact, the guy handed him the keys, Chris's mentor, and kind of Chris ran the show, and had to stumble and had to make mistakes, had to learn. But now today he can run his own, and sometimes I think hopefully we're not going to cultivate that in our space, right? Because it's happening in the realtor space. I'll tell you right now, as soon as a realtor gets licensed and that license is posted, they're getting recruited by all the brokerages, Coldwell, Century 21, Locations, Keller Williams, EXP. They're all getting calls. So we're human. It's human nature. These guys, like the new realtors who just got their license, they're thinking, wow, these brokerages want me. I'm something now. I just got my license and people want me when you didn't even close a deal yet. You don't even know what you're doing yet. Like you're a huge liability. They're just a pawn in the war going on between the brokerages. Okay, so but they become entitled. They feel that they want to talk to the brokerage who's going to give them the most leads or hold their hand the most. When you sign up to those brokerages, you're on your own still. There's training systems and stuff, but you gotta get out there and do it yourself. You know what I'm saying? And so we don't want to be that, and we don't want to cultivate that within our circles. Like we want everyone to lift us. We're not gonna get to the top if you're the only person who had to go through that fire to learn to be able to carry yourself in hard times. When the market shifts, it's like Warren Buffett says, when the tide rolls out, we'll see who has been swimming naked, right? It's going to reveal a lot. And we want to be the guys in this room right here who are collaborating together, who have made those mistakes together. Keone's made he's learned already. He's done the strategy that we're about to, go into. So he's saying it's hard to get in touch with these homeowners. So that's, great. Zaylen's giving us tips about having teams and stuff. Like this is how we elevate to be, the players in our industry, but also to to survive times when it, when it gets hard. If the market shifts, it will get hard. And I'm excited for that shit. I'm ready. We're all ready. That's why when COVID happened, like, this was the biggest blessing, is starting a call like this. And what I was worried about is that it gets a little too big where we can't control the quality, because really all I wanted was this, just collaboration and talking about stuff, because that's how we learn. Like, I really don't like having to, I don't know. I mean, I'd rather have a small room. I'd rather have a small room because I get the most out of it. If we have a large room, great. Hopefully people take something away from it. But I like to have a small room that's consistent and provides value. So, and I feel like that's what we kind of had today. So I thank you guys. Thank you, Keone, for sharing, and thank you guys all for jumping on the call. I know we gotta just focus on the strategy that we're gonna have, but maybe you guys can implement too, because I think it is a powerful strategy. And if we can get every single house that's stuck on the hidden market here on Oahu, at least, then I think that's making a huge difference. So hopefully everybody has a great Friday. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you guys all next week. Aloha, everybody. Thanks, Keone. Thanks,
Friday
Chris.
the 13th. Friday the
Aloha, Ben.
13th.
Thanks, Kurt.